Hello my friends. As dust settles across the southern US fields, wild boar herds begin to appear. Don't let their bulky and clumsy appearance fool you. Wild boars are incredibly intelligent, alert and surprisingly fast. Trapping these animals is a challenge for any hunter. So how do Americans successfully trap wild boars? Let's find out in this video. Wild boars are not native to the Americas. They were brought to this continent from Europe during the 15th century expeditions. Over the years, some escaped into the wild and gradually adapted, developing into a feral species with rapid reproduction rates and a strong vitality. By 2023, the wild boar population had alarmingly increased to over 8.3 million, spreading across 39 states all over the US. This rapid growth has transformed them into one of the 100 most destructive invasive species in the country. The destructive impact of wild boars is extremely severe. They transmit diseases to domestic pigs, churn up farmlands while foraging, destroy sports fields, and sometimes even attack people. According to statistics, the economic damage caused by wild boars amounts to approximately $2.5 billion annually. Due to this level of harm, residents are permitted to trap wild boars freely in most US states. This is a necessary measure to control their population and protect agriculture and native ecosystems. Before proceeding with trapping, the first step is to survey and select a suitable location. Wild boars are often active in low-lying areas such as riverbeds, dry stream beds, wetlands, and forest edges. When scouting a location, you should look for the three most common signs of wild boar activity. First are small trails cutting through brush. Second, since these animals often weigh hundreds of pounds and enjoy wallowing, looking for large, wet footprints embedded in the mud. The third sign is deep, continuous digging marks on the ground, as wild boars habitually use their snouts to dig for food. The trapper also needs to consider the vehicle accessibility and convenient transport of traps, bait, and the captured pigs later. The ideal location is usually shaded and not too far from a water source. Once the location has been determined, the next step is to pre-bait the selected area. This process helps to attract wild boars to the area and accustoms them to returning regularly. Wild boars are omnivores, so various types of bait can be used. The most effective baits include dry or fermented corn, vegetable scraps, and sweet substances like molasses. These items have an attractive smell and are easily found in agricultural environments. After scattering bait in the chosen area, the next step is to monitor wild boar activity during the acclimatization phase to the food source. The most challenging part of this stage is that humans must limit their presence as much as possible, but the bait source must not run out. The reason for this is that wild boars are very wary, and they will leave if they detect frequent human presence. But if the bait runs out, they will also leave to find other food sources. To solve this problem, trail cameras are often used. Cameras are typically installed directly facing the baiting area, ensuring a wide-angle view to capture all wild boar activity. Then the images are sent directly to a smartphone. The trapper can remotely check the bait status and quickly replenish it when needed without being detected by the herd. The pre-baiting phase usually lasts around 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the level of wild boar activity in the area and their trap shyness. This is necessary time for wild boars to form the habit of regularly visiting the baited area and becoming more confident and less wary. When the camera confirms that the wild boar herd has become accustomed to regularly feeding at the chosen location, the official trapping process can begin. The trap should be set right where the bait was scattered, taking advantage of the trust the herd has already developed in this area. Depending on the size of the herd, the trapper will choose the appropriate type of trap. For large herds, corral traps or silo traps are often used due to their large capacity. For individual animals or small groups, cage traps and box traps are effective choices. Regardless of the trap chosen, the walls need to be at least 5 feet high in order to prevent the pigs from jumping out. And on private land, setting traps does not require government permits, but the trapper must still obtain permission from the landowner. In the initial stage, the trapdoor is kept open. The purpose is to allow the pigs to freely enter and exit and become accustomed to the internal structure. Bait continues to be scattered along a path leading deeper into the trap. The monitor will observe via camera, ensuring the herd feels comfortable and feeds for at least 3 consecutive nights. This is a sign that even the shyest wild boar have become familiar with the trap. When conditions are suitable, the trap trigger is installed. Bait is often scattered inside, extending to the trigger point. This helps keep the herd in the trap longer and increases the chances of capturing multiple individuals at once.
So yesterday you put out how many pounds of corn?
150 pounds. 150 pounds yesterday.
It's gone today.
The moment the trapdoor closes marks the end for the wild boar herd. Many panicked wild boars ram into the trap walls, trying to escape. But all their efforts are futile because the trap walls are securely fixed and drilled deep into the ground to withstand strong impact. With new technologies, smart traps integrated with cameras allow users to activate them remotely via phone or computer. A typical automatic trap today can hold up to 50 wild boars in one activation, with an investment cost of around $75,000. Let's see how various wild boar traps work.
that. You notice it? Boom! He's gone. Wow.
After capturing the wild boar herd, the next step is to handle them safely. The most common method for disposing of a trapped wild boar is to shoot them on sight. There are two areas considered vital: the spot in the middle of the forehead, around 2 to 3 inches above an imaginary line connecting the eyes, and aiming towards the spine or behind the ear, pointing the gun towards the opposite eye. When handling wild boars, whether alive or deceased, hunters should wear gloves to avoid contracting diseases from them. This species carries around 30 to 34 different types of pathogens and over 35 types of dangerous parasites, including leptospirosis and brucellosis. After eliminating the wild boars, some people choose to process and eat them on site, but most wild boars are sold to restaurants or the meat industry. Broken Arrow Ranch in Texas is a prime example of a wild boar processing facility. They collaborate with trappers, receiving wild boars and transferring them to licensed slaughterhouses for processing. The meat is then packaged and distributed. Each year, this facility processes between 1,500 to 1,700 wild boar, mainly medium-sized individuals weighing from between 80 to 180 pounds, as larger adult males often have a strong odour due to hormone influence. In the Great Smoky Mountains area, authorities have removed over 15,000 feral pigs in recent years through trapping and hunting with firearms. Hunting wild boars with firearms is also very popular in the US. Hunters often approach them from downwind in order to avoid detection because of the species' extremely keen sense of smell. Most hunts occur at night when the wild boars are more active but less wary. Shots are usually taken from a distance, sometimes up to 600 yards. The primary targets are vital areas like the head or heart. Since wild boars can run at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour, comparable to a motorcycle, the shooter must have precise aiming skills in order to take them down with a single shot, avoiding injuring the animal and allowing it to escape. Let's watch some impressive wild boar hunting scenes by American hunters. You might wonder, just how do 8 wild boars brought over by Columbus grow into a population of millions that are around today? In reality, after Columbus, many other explorers also brought wild boars to the Americas. Notably, in 1890, the number of wild boars imported from Europe and Russia surged. they arrived on cargo ships primarily to serve the needs of adventurous hunters. However, not all of them stayed within human reach. Some boars escaped from enclosures. They survived, reproduced in the wild, and gradually became feral wild boars. Over the years, their population grew beyond human control. As of 2023, more than 6 million wild boars have spread across 39 states in the US. Texas alone accounts for around 2 million, enough to make it the epicenter of the wild boar invasion crisis. These feral hogs have become a true nightmare for farmers and the entire American agricultural industry. They're now listed amongst the 100 most dangerous invasive species on the planet. Each year alone, it is estimated they cause roughly $2.5 billion in damages. This species is notorious for destroying crops. To forage, they root through the soil using their snouts and tusks. Their sharp tusks leave behind deep furrows, as if a rototiller had just passed through. The result: severed roots, uprooted grass, and overturned crops. In June 2022, in just one night, 6 adult wild boars, each weighing over 200 pounds, tore up around 0.2 of an acre of land at FarmShare's property in Texas, destroying more than 2,000 pounds of produce. But it doesn't stop at crops. Wild boars can also damage sport fields and even attack animals and humans. Unlike most animals on the planet, wild boars will charge and bite even when not cornered. Since 1825, the US has recorded over 100 wild boar attacks on humans. Wild hogs also directly compete with native wildlife. They consume the same food sources as a deer, turkeys, and many other forest mammals, leading to food shortages. Worse yet, since the wild boars are omnivores, they eat everything from eggs and ground nesting chicks to the young of small mammals. Even endangered species like the gopher and tortoise haven't escaped their appetite. In addition, wild boars are also a major carrier of dangerous diseases. They carry around between 30 to 34 types of pathogens and 37 species of parasites, enough to threaten not only wildlife but also livestock and humans. Recognizing the threat posed by feral hogs, agencies such as the US Department of Agriculture and various other state-level wildlife organizations have made efforts to control their population. Each year, the federal government allocates around $30.5 million in order to address this issue. It's a prolonged, costly battle with no end in sight. Hunting and trapping are the most commonly used control methods. Many states allow year-round hunting of wild boars and no-bag limits. This proactive approach is favoured by hunters. Trapping, however, requires much more technical skill. Standard traps usually consist of a sturdy metal cage equipped with a cable gate system. To lure the boars in, people use bait such as corn, fermented beer, sugar, or jelly. Trapping is typically done at night, since that's when wild boars are most active, as well as them having poor night vision. This generally makes them less cautious in the dark. Despite these efforts, the results have yet to make a significant impact. In 2019, only around 29% of the feral hog population was reduced through hunting and trapping. Another method currently under research is poisoning. The USDA is testing sodium nitrate, a chemical that can kill a wild boar within 3 hours. Specialised bait stations are being designed to only allow access to adult wild boars, minimising risks to other species in the environment. Despite multiple strategies, eradicating wild boars remains an enormous challenge. They reproduce rapidly, up to 2 litters per year, with 4 to 12 piglets per litter. Adult males can weigh between 300 to 400 pounds. Wild boars are also highly intelligent, adaptable, and can run at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. This makes them capable of evading traps, fleeing from hunters even when injured, and continuing to breed. At Great Smoky Mountains National Park, authorities have removed over 15,000 wild boars through trapping and hunting. Yet the population shows little sign of decline. In states like Florida, California, Oklahoma and Texas, the number and spread of wild boars are so overwhelming that local governments have shifted their focus from eradication to damage management. Some individuals have turned to processing wild boar meat for consumption. For example, Broken Arrow Ranch in Texas partners with trappers to capture wild boars and transport them to USDA-approved slaughterhouses for processing and packaging. They sell between 1,500 to 1,700 wild boars each year. However, the biggest barrier to distributing wild boar meat is food safety. Feral hogs can carry many pathogens, and their meat, especially that from mature animals, often has a strong, unpleasant odour that is difficult to process. Nationwide, there are only around 15 federally inspected facilities approved to process wild boar meat. And the US is not alone in facing this invasive species crisis. Australia is also grappling with the problem, though their main problem involves feral rabbits. Rabbits are not native to Australia. They were introduced in the 19th century by a British settler named Thomas Austin. The original group brought to Melbourne included just 24 rabbits. But within just 3 years, the rabbit population had exploded into the thousands. And within 50 years, the species has spread across the entire Australian continent, becoming the fastest mammal invasion ever recorded. Researchers believe that the genetic makeup of Austin's rabbits sparked the invasion. These rabbits descended from wild ancestors. This gave them better survival skills in Australia's harsh landscapes compared to that of domesticated rabbits. On top of that, European wild rabbits are famously prolific breeders. They can reproduce year-round. Each female can give birth to at least 4 litters a year, with each litter ranging from 2 to 5 kids.
You might want to come out of the hole. Look at that.
Meanwhile, Australia has very few natural predators. Humans unintentionally made things worse by converting wild lands into pastures and hunting the very predators that once kept rabbit numbers in check. The unchecked growth of wild rabbit populations has a devastating effect on agriculture and native ecosystems. They strip bark, consume young leaves, and dig deep into the soil, damaging roots. Entire farms and grasslands have been destroyed by their burrowing. Livestock and sheep often get trapped in these collapsed tunnels, causing serious losses. Wild rabbits are responsible for an estimated 200 million in agricultural damage each year. Worse still, rabbits compete for space and food, putting pressure on the nearly 300 species of native plants and animals across Australia. To fight back, Australia has tried many different methods. Destroying rabbit warrens has proved effective. Without shelter, rabbits can no longer breed or raise their young as easily. In the 1950s, the government introduced a biological control. The myxoma virus was released into the wild to infect rabbits. Later, the RHDV virus, causing rabbit hemorrhaging disease, was introduced. RHDV once helped reduce rabbit populations by an estimated 90% in arid regions. But over time, wild rabbits developed a resistance to the virus. Toxic chemicals have also been used. Carbon monoxide and phosphine gas are pumped into warrens in order to kill wild rabbits inside. Despite all of these efforts, the war against rabbits is far from over. Today, scientists continue searching for new, more effective pathogens to stop the spread of this invasive species. From a few rabbits released for leisure in Australia to a handful of wild boars carried on ships to the Americas. These stories show how the actions of a single person or a small group can leave lasting, devastating consequences on an entire ecosystem. Today's video ends here. If you found it helpful, please hit like, share and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our latest content. Goodbye and see you in the next video.